Welcome everyone to the Politically Jumbled Podcast. I'm Jocelyn Nicole. So today we're going to start something called the Weekly Rundown. So what this is just me talking about popular topics throughout the week, things that I'm passionate about, and just anything that I want to talk about that I've noticed this week. So let's get started. So I want to let's talk about the Buffalo shooting incident first. So, we're going to talk about that. Rest in peace to the victims. Very sad situation. They have to find a way to enrage the black community whenever it's time to vote. And they use our anger, our pain, our anguish to push new things, not only into the community, but into the world. So with the Buffalo shooting incident, I said a lot of people saying, oh, he's a plant. You know, this was planned by the Democrats and all that other type of stuff. And I love a good conspiracy theory because, they go into so many different directions. But even if he was a plant and all of these types of things that people are saying, right? It doesn't take away the fact that something so evil happened in Buffalo, New York at Tops grocery store. And the saddest part about that is, that's a community that's a food desert. So that Tops grocery store was really like a lifeline for that community. So for you to take something away from a community like that, it's just so disheartening. It's so sad. And what I will say that this is bigger than Democrat versus Republican, black versus white. This is just evil versus good at this point. And so I think people, instead of fighting their demons, should start, praying them demons away. Because I think a lot of people for the past 2 years have really struggled mentally, just struggled in so many different ways. Like, this world was so dark for 2 years, so much fighting, so much of the blame game, this, that, and the third. Like, it was just a lot going on. And so I think people are still reeling from that. And just some people are just hateful and evil too at the same time. Sometimes some things are just not mental. It's just some people are just going to use their free will to be evil. There's that also. I'm an independent voter, right? So I kind of try to see things from both sides. I've never picked Republican or Democrat, but this whole situation really made me look at both sides. Like, yeah. So I was side-eyeing both sides during this whole thing because I feel like the Democrats are using this to push gun control, and I feel like I didn't see enough of the other side condemning this hateful act. A lot of them wanted to bring up Chicago and all these other things that are going on in the inner cities. I feel like, can we condemn an evil attack and still attack the other things as well? I want to say, when it comes to this Buffalo shooting thing, pay attention to how people will spin this, how the agendas will try to use this for either way. Pay attention to how this will be used. When it comes to gun control, right? They're always trying to say, oh, we need to put this law, we need to put this and that. This was a guy that was known to law enforcement and it did nothing. And also, are we talking, I don't know if people like the way that they sound when they talk, but when we're talking about gun control, preventing guns, all of these types of things, there's a reason why we have criminals and a justice system. Okay, these people are not following the law anyway. So putting the law in place does what? It does nothing but hurt the people that are law-abiding, because they're not going to get the gun because they're not allowed to. But that person that's just going to go get it off the streets and not give a damn about your life is going to take you out. That's what gun control is in a nutshell. You should have the right to bear arms and to defend yourself when necessary. Right? I would think so. Should there be some parameters in place, or mentally ill, or making sure that certain people don't get weapons? Sure. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people that are saying ban all guns. Nobody should have the right to, bear arms or defend themselves. And nobody should be okay with that and repeating that rhetoric. What are you talking about? The criminals don't give a damn about a law. They're going to do what the hell they want to do because they're criminals. All right. Moving on, let's talk about the gun violence that's going on and plaguing so many cities right now. So I wrote a book called Finally Free, where I attack this issue a little bit, right? Where I talk about how people have been brainwashed and conditioned in certain environments to believe that there's only certain paths for them, right? So if you want to check that out, shameless plug for Jocelyn Nicole, that's finally free. Go check me out on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, online. Finally free. Go get you a copy. It's a big book now, but it's a good book. It came out about the kids harmed by gun violence in New York City, and then the number of kids that were arrested for gun offenses in New York City. Right, a lot of them were in that in the juvenile category, I should say. And so I'm in the city of Atlanta, and there is a juvenile crime crisis going on, right? And so I remember that there was a tweet or something, an article that came out that the city of Atlanta is begging for parents to, intervene, get involved so we can curb this juvenile crime crisis, right? And so that's another problem that we're going to have to tackle in our community is how do we solve that? So we'll just say that there's this notion that you're supposed to co-parent with the government. And because the governments are so inundated into our homes, parents are not allowed to parent the way that the older generations were able to parent. I'll put it that way. And that's not saying that you have to beat your kids or anything like that, but you can't even breathe on your kids now without the schools trying to intervene and say that it's a problem and defects is called. These schools are weaponizing defects like that's their armor right now. The start of the juvenile crime crisis does begin at home and the community. All right, boom. So I'm in the state of Georgia right now. We have early voting going on. The primaries are coming up. And so this is for our governor's race. Right now, there's Stacey Abrams, David Perdue, Kemp. So Stacey Abrams is the Democrat. David Perdue, Kemp, that's the Republicans. So I think those are the front runners right now. And we got a Senate run happening too. That's Herschel Walker and Warnock. And so this whole thing is getting interesting. I see that Kemp is passing a lot of things as of late. Between he did something with the guns. He passed something with the guns recently, and he did something about recess. He also did something for school. So he's been passing a lot, and I'm like, I don't know if he's So he signed a bill allowing permitless carry of a concealed weapon. That's one of the things he passed. But he also did something for recess. And I said, I don't know if he's doing this so he can win or what. But I've been paying attention to the things he's passed, and a lot of them seem good. I know a lot of people were mad about the permitless carry or concealed because they feel like it's going to get into the wrong hands. But guns are already in the wrong hands of a lot of people. So, like I said, criminals going to do what they want to do. That's why we have criminals and a justice system. I don't have too much to say about it. I don't like anybody that's running personally, but I am, more so leaning towards a Republican because I see how all these other places are going to hell with Democrats in charge. I just feel like, both of them have their own level of hell. You just got to pick which one you want. And that's sad that we've gotten to that point of picking the lesser of two evils instead of trying to find somebody that's good. That'll be good, good for everybody in the long run. There's a housing crisis that nobody talks about, and that's infuriating. But I'll talk about that a different day, another time. That's one thing that I wish that more people would address. I feel like we're addressing abortion. We had some people go out and march about abortion. Nobody is marching about housing or anything like that. Nobody is marching to find a solution to end all of this, inner city violence. Like a lot of the inner city violence comes from just people getting desperate and poverty and just things like that. And I'm not putting all the blame on that either. Like I said, I have a book that goes more into detail about this. But a lot of people have been brainwashed into thinking that, that this is the only way that that you can live, and that's sad. Okay, just to end this episode, I'm going to say that the way of the world right now, it seems like there's a spiritual warfare happening. That there's a lot of attacks happening spiritually to a lot of people, and you can't let the devil win. So please start praying those demon spirits away. Like, I'm not even super religious, but if if you don't see what's going on here, how people are allowing uh, the devil to use them is very sad right now. And I will also say that do not allow the media, activists, anybody to turn this into black versus white. It's not about that. Right now in this world, it's a class issue more than anything. Everything else that they're trying to say is just a big distraction. This is poor versus rich. And I'm telling you, there's more of us than it is them. So they know that if we stay divided, that we're weaker and won't pay attention to the bigger picture at hand. But right now, there's a class issue happening between housing, wages, people trying to live again, trying to figure out their lives after a global pandemic. A lot of people got rich, and a lot of people got screwed over. And most people that got screwed over during the pandemic were those that were the working class, middle class, working poor, small business owners that didn't get the money. So when we look at how damaging it was to people just trying to make their way in this life, is very incredibly sad. So this is just a reminder that this is a reminder to not let people rile you up. To always do your own research, learn how to think for yourself, critically think, and things like that. So this is Politically Jumbled, my first weekly rundown. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back with another video.